push it past the laning phase or past too much of the mid game.
Yeah, and I think that's been the real trouble for KLG, right? Is that they need to be able to find some rhythm and some early game advantage to be able to burst into their team fights. And so far, that just hasn't been the case the whole of this World's play-in stage. However, on the flip side, GRX have shown that they just have multiple ways to be able to win the game. They can be created in the draft phase. They can rely on their AD carry to carry. You know, PK in the top lane's had a great tournament so far. But really, and it's just all been about Empty and Candy. Their synergy has looked so much improved, Rib. And this is a team certainly to track out of this group as they go into the best of 5.
They've been catching a lot of people with their hand in the cookie jar, that's for sure, if you want to say it that way. Empty's KDA, ridiculous on whatever he's picking. Candy, able to make plays a lot like we were kind of requesting last game. Where are those plays from these guys at Worlds? And he is one that can put them on the Rift. Now we're into picks and bans for this game. Chaos Latin Gamers versus GRX. First phase of bans is done. We're looking at a cannon. I wouldn't mind that too much.
Man, I wonder how we're going to see KLG play here, because there's kind of two ways you go out with, the bang or the bang. And the bang is you try and win the game, you know, you throw the kitchen sink out there, you really do give it the final hurrah. Or potentially we see something a little bit crazy, something a little bit more, you know, call back to the champions that they like playing.
Heck yeah.
And, you know, GRX, they're not a team that is above getting in on the fun either. I wouldn't be surprised to see something come out of them as well.
PK now locking in that Kaisa for a Stitch. He'll feel good on that as they're looking at an Alistar. Going to be an aggressive bottom lane. Lissandra starts to get a little bit more playtime here in the world stage as Empty locks that in.
And I really like this about Worlds. When people start picking up champions and then other top laners are like, hey, he's doing that and it looks like a lot of fun. Get me on some of that action, you know. I've tried it in a couple of scrims. It seems okay, but there's nothing like a stage game to really test it out. There's nothing like a stage game once you've already secured first seed at that as well. So see where the PK takes that one towards the top lane. Of course, Candy could still grab it for that mid lane.
For sure. Still waiting to see Candy's talent. I want to see this guy throw some blades down. See a Lucian for Fix on the other side. I've enjoyed Fix's play. Fix and Slow work really well together in that bot lane. You can see their synergy. Just have not been able to come up with that result that they want just yet. Skarn to lock in, as we've seen a little bit more of the Scorp at Worlds as well.
And finally, it's going to be in the hands of Tearwolf. It's 100% ban rate against him so far in this tournament. Hasn't been able to get it rolling on some of the other junglers. You know, he's only got one pick on each, a little bit more early game flavor. This time around, he's going to be on a level 6 spiking jungler. He can farm up, he can play a little bit more conservative. And he's already got CC in that bottom lane to be able to add to it. So I like this pick of going towards the Tahm Kench. We've already seen that, you know, the macro play has been there from GRX. They have been able to rotate around the map as they need to, and I think that getting people into the lanes even quicker with that global ultimate certainly bodes well for this team.
Relia hit towards Plugo. What else will they decide? Plugo with a Rise and a Ziggs play so far in that mid lane. As they start hitting up Empty, and why not? This guy has just wreaked havoc from the jungle and really relieves pressure immediately on any of the lanes.
Also just gets rid of one of the junglers that can keep pace with the Skarner, as well as ignore the ultimate, you know, put a lot of early game pressure down. And as you already mentioned, Empty does seem to be the informed player. They've got rid of his Gragas already. They get rid of the Olaf. See whether they try and force him onto something even more uncomfortable, because we've only seen him on Gragas and Skarner so far. So this is going to be a new champion. Once again, he hasn't died. He's kind of got that infinite KDA at the moment.
Can he stay undead?
That's kind of cool. Going into best of 5s, not having died. Or maybe he wants to die now, get it out of the way. You know, just shrug it off. So he doesn't have to think about it. Doesn't have to weigh on his mind.
So mid lane again. Plugo gets hit as that was not picked around the side. And we could have this Lissandra flex, so still going to be that blind pick on the side of Chaos Latin Gamers. What do they feel comfortable with? Stitch maybe going to lock in something for that jungle.
Yeah, I think that's a smart pick. You know, give Candy a little bit of a counter pick. We've already seen him play things like Yasuo that does rely on getting a fairly decent lane for yourself, but then can have great potential. There are still some early game aggressive junglers available. We've seen a lot of Nocturne actually come out so far, maybe even more than I thought we would, because with the re-emergence of things like, you know, Olaf, Xin Zhao that can take it to Nocturne early.
Yeah.
Kind of time struggle, but has done a very good job so far.
Do it. Pick Candy's talent against him. The Nocturne locked in. Looking at Chaos Latin Gamers' side, they may have a LeBlanc and some chains in that mid lane.
Yeah, and so far Plugo has looked the most successful on the Akali pickup, so I think that this would be smart if they go towards it. Now rounding out the team, I think that you do need another form of tank. Nate was able to rotate around the map so brilliantly on this Ion, and I think that could be a decent matchup. Has a wave clear to be able to go with a pushing mage. Also the opportunity to throw the gauntlet, maybe go something a little bit more aggressive. We haven't seen any J4. Aatrox and Urgot, of course, taken off the table.
Ooh. Still have a few, but they do lock it in. It looks like we're going to see that Camille going top lane. Nate wants to be aggressive.
Yeah, that's interesting because not really going to have all that much early pressure coming into the lane. Whereas there could be some gank set up on the top side of the map if you are going to be GRX.
I like the Shen pick up for Killer Instinct. If Stitch wants to go hard, you get a little bit more safety there because you're not going to be next to Tom Ken. Shen
top lane
is
kit.
locked in. Yes, it is. And that will be up against the Camille of Nate.
And that's going to be a mid lane Lissandra, that means. Which is just an absolute bonkers comp, you know, not something that we've really seen come out. Maybe lacks a little bit of damage in the late game situation, although Kai'Sa makes up for a lot of that if she is able to stay alive.
Back it up.
A lot of pressure on Stitch to be able to make these team fights work, but does have some great protection, you know. Darkness coming through, stopping those teleports, as well as shields upon shields. And the Devour, if he wants to remain safe. So I don't mind what GRX has put together, but it is certainly kind of a different feel comp than what we've seen come out of them so far. Certainly more built around Stitch than it is built around Candy in this situation.
And Chaos Latin gamers have always reflected a composition where you'd see Nate be able to get behind not too much. Already his plays are on a Scion, are on an Urgot. Now if a Camille falls behind, those teleports aren't as effective coming in. So the team's definitely going to have to play different across the map.
Yeah, and Camille, when she was released, was such a forgiving champion. Just had, you know, inbuilt sustain. The shields were able to get you through a lot. But since she has been tapped down a little bit, seen more traditionally in the jungle position now, there are certainly windows that you can look to exploit. And I want to see whether this Shen lane really does a trick, whether it's an aggressive Shen, you know, something like the Trinity Force pick up at the start of the game to try and dictate the pace, or whether it's just a little bit more slow pace, you know, go towards the Sunfire, get the Ninja Tabbies rolling, and just try and close this game out. Clearly, it would be fantastic for the LMS third seed if they did go through undefeated, if they were able to try and boost the pride of the region, because as we keep saying, you know, Flash Wolf, AHQ, no one else has really been able to make their international mark. GRX starting to build a legacy for themselves, at least in this early stages of Worlds.
And they're a lovable team, too. A very Cloud9-esque run where the first half of the split wasn't that good, and then they came out really strong, so the team you really want to watch, and they're seeming to carry it here into the World stage.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, this is a team that had such a successful first split. And then it really did fall apart split 2. They didn't make playoffs. I mean, that is such a big note. And then able to make regional qualifiers just off points. Definitely were not the favorites to close that one out, but did run the gauntlet. Were able to get the win over J-Team, and now are subsequently...
even more like C9.
Yeah, at the world stage. So certainly agree with you. The juxtaposition is available.
Yeah.
And like C9, they're trying to close out their group undefeated.
Crazy. A little pressure. A quick lick to slow to let him know this is started already. Same inventories in the mid lane, top lane, jungle, almost across the board except for that Doran's Ring we saw Stitch start with.
And I'll be interested to see how aggressive Fix and Slow start this one. And also for another time, we're going to see a little bit of early game shenanigans. This is going to be a topside invade, it looks like, coming out for the KLG lineup. And I like this. I think that they do need to get aggressive early.
Ooh, waiting for that one ward that you might want to put in the pixel brush.
They don't actually go for it, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Certainly is some pressure behind Shen as well as Nocturne at the start of the game. You know, Dustbringer plus Shen's passive is going to give him a little bit of trouble. And this is something that Skarner can do that a lot of junglers can't reliably do. Solo out buffs at a very nice pace. So they can start all three members in lane, start to get those pushes happening and try and guarantee Tearwolf that first successful shot that he needs.
See if it gives Nate a little bit of a lead in lane 2 for level 2 first.
Fafala.
Getting aggressive. Nice brush control to start off. Usually that's Alistar's home, but Tom Kench can usually own it with that passive very early.
Yeah, certainly can. I mean, also with the Glacial Augment.
Oh, yeah.
Just willing to play up in the lane, Riv, willing to get in their face.
So much pull your hair out seeing that now on more and more champions. You see it on Hextech GLP users, and it is hell-raising. Good damage onto Plugo there to start things off from Candy. as they continue to farm out. Doesn't look like they'll miss too much CS, but we are getting a little love towards the top side already as Tierwolf creeps in from the tri-brush.
Yeah, certainly does. Nate looking to set up a gank, see whether he can get anything happening here. Tierwolf actually abandons. He's going towards a part of the map that unfortunately Nocturne has already been. One of the highest XP clears at the moment is going to be buff to Krugs to Raptors. And the good thing about Nocturne is that he actually has terrific AoE clear, so can exploit that. And they've just spotted Tierwolf everywhere he's gone, unfortunately. Farm to 6, what's that?
Gonna get out of that one safe. That ward placed down at the beginning, Tierwolf actually walking through it. Always kind of consider 3 minutes in, a ward placed early would still be there. Just have to wonder where they would be. So they now have information on him as Candy's able to play safe.
This could be rough. I mean, right now, Empty's going into the jungle. They've already spotted out exactly where Tierwolf is. He's going to get a smite down.
Gets his flash. The ward comes up there for a flash, but they aren't able to get his red off. Candy with the lane push gets priority there, but they do get a nice steal on these Raptors.
Yeah, and that's a little bit sloppy from Tierwolf. You know, you see him walk through mid lane. He was spotted on wards already. Needs to be able to go to his boss, but the fact that Empty wasn't able to steal that one away, I mean, it's not a massive deal, but Tierwolf's flash certainly is, and they're looking for more early game action. This is just aggressive.
It's a hard push up top, so it's going to be Nate down here with this fight as well. Can they actually get over there to help their jungler? Tierwolf going down very low, and it's going to be the TP in now from PK on the other side. Empty's low as the fight in the bot lane starts as well. We're coast to coast with the aggression here. Fix gets himself out. Nobody has dropped just yet, but there are slivers of health limping away. Slow's going to be the first one as that's given over to Stitch. And a second kill coming in to start things off here. First one was onto Tierwolf, actually.
Yeah, and I said that this is probably going to be a team that will party with you if you want to go for it early. And GRX just showed that they're not going to back down. They thought they had the early rotation. Didn't really count on the fact that there was going to be a deep ward place there for PK. And I mean, I see the idea from KLG. You know, we need some early game momentum. We need to make this work, but I just don't think they're picking their windows well. Ability to use those summoner spells early, you know, the decisiveness is there. Nate joins the party a little bit too late. Team fight on the bottom lane also not going well just because of that glacial augment and the willingness to burn summoner spells. And as I said, you got to really respect the individual play coming out of GRX, otherwise they're going to punish you like this, Rip.
And that teleport ward coming in for PK. Oh my word, already damaged down to the bot side stick. Stitch gonna lose that gold he got from his first kill. That goes over to Fix. And as I was saying, the ward coming in from Candy showed the pressure in the mid lane there. So PK had the great ward to teleport in. A little bit of the flow of the game now stopped by KLG after they said a little too much aggression from GRX. Let's bite back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a little bit of greed coming through from Stitch. Looked like he teleported back to lane, got caught out, and immediately dies. That means that potentially first Dragon going to go over to KLG, using some of that push in the bottom lane to be able to rotate first to the objective. Going to be down in gold, but Infernal Drake is certainly a good RNG spawn to grab if you're able to get that first kill. And with people like Lucian, like Camille, certainly going to be a good team to be able to utilize that percentage bonus stats.
Off and running with an Infernal Drake to start. Just wait until that builds up for Nate. He'll be feeling it a little bit more towards late game. Nice chains in from Candy, or from Plugo, I should say, onto Candy as bot lane continues to go back and forth, auto for auto. Everybody's just trying to get an upper hand here. There's no gentleman's agreement in farming out this laning phase. It is all about the fight.
And whilst everyone's trying to get an upper hand, Stitch is really the person that is kind of securing the upper hand, if you will, right now.
28.
Yeah, he's absolutely punishing this lane, continuing to harass, and they need a bailout, but unfortunately they're kind of still not level 6, and none of the action coming down here. Probably going to get worse, as they're looking for potentially a play out of the Shen as well.
Stand United comes in. That's not a level 6 on Empty, but he'll be able to make it in. Dustbringer does not hit, so he doesn't get an assist there, but they are able to push off one. The spit from Koala on Devourer does not take down Slow, but they get all the pressure on the bot side. This is giving the lane to Nate quite a bit, though, on that top.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, Nate going to be able to farm up. He is one of the win conditions, as we mentioned, but the fact that PK has just been able to get involved in two, and this was a very telegraphed play. You really do have to question what they're doing that far up in the lane. You kind of knew it was going to happen as soon as it was there, and GRX just, I mean, showing their class at the moment, showing that they aren't a team that can now be underestimated. They came in as a massive wild card in the truest sense of the word. No one really knew what this team was going to perform like, and I think they've answered a lot of the questions that analysts wanted to throw at them around, are you going to change your roster? Well, the answer is no. We're going to stay consistent with Empty. You know, what weaknesses is there? Are your individual strengths enough to hold you together? And so far in this Worlds run, despite the strength of the group, the answer does seem to be yes.
Really been able to come together after kind of...
Oh, the first kill. Don't do it.
Ooh. Gets him in, Empty rather, trying to get out, but Hextech Ultimatum keeps him locked. And he will not be able to make a move.
Riv, you got to be more excited than that. That's the first time this man has died at the whole of World.
I understand. It made me more sad than anything. There's kind of pain. I like seeing that. The living, I mean. The living. But yeah, Empty. He actually was a little too sure of himself there. That's the first time he stayed in a situation to kind of be like, I can take this without knowing his surroundings.
Yeah, that's
a little in his head.
A few times the why are they here is actually probably a justified why are they here. You know, maybe he thought that Nate had gone for a reset. Not really all that much reason to be on the top side of the map as Plugo goes in.
Damage, not enough mana to really finish this one out just yet, as Candy can make himself invulnerable nice and easy. Quick hit forward. They were going to try to go for an attack on that. PK has been everywhere on this Shen. Headbutt pulverize in as Vix gets himself to safety. Doesn't want the lick to stick, but it's going to be Nocturne coming in. Empty wants a piece of this fight, but it's a 3v3 right away. Tierwolf just in the fog of war as he comes out.
Should be able to survive this one. Teleport.
Is that going to be a Tierwolf flash?
No ultimate available, so it would be a bad flash if it is going to be one.
Good call. The cooldown there caught me off guard.
But still, you got to respect KLG for, you know, pushing them back, not letting them go blindly aggressive in this bottom lane. And Tierwolf still trying to push them off this turret. Not going to happen, and I think they should just take the reset. Gold's still incredibly close, and once again, KLG got that early dragon, so still certainly within this game, even though the bottom lane discrepancy is continuing to grow.
See what this next back is here for Stitch. So just a bit. Not able to secure enough kills to really finalize the item. Just in a few minutes, we had Kaisa last game getting that Storm Razor at 10 minutes. So the clip of these games actually quite fast. KLG themselves in their region. 18 games kind of on average per kill, highest of the region. So they love this. They love to stay in the ring, keep the gloves on, and keep swinging.
Absolutely. Brawl heavy team, and Slow might have caught out a couple.
Slow doesn't have too much people around him even to start this off. Koala's going to get there real fast. Tierwolf said maybe a little too early. Plugo can't even join in, and he is devoured, spit out, turned into hamburger meat for Empty as they now pull Koala into the turret. Gray health keeps him locked down, and they will solidify a kill on each side. This is so hectic, back and forth. Nate with the kick, and he does sweep PK off his feet. Another kill for KLG here. Candy looks like he could go down. Fix is in, and here comes Tierwolf. The flashes in from Plugo as well, and Distortion. What is going on?
And you said that GRX might be able to go with them in this scrappy team fight play. Well, KLG really has just degraded the status of this game, and being able to pick up those solo kills in the top lane, that's a now massive advantage for Nate. He's going to get solo first turret gold as well.
Oh, does it ever end? The fuse is lit on the bot side. Stand United brings Stitch in along with PK. And now they're on to Slow. This guy just came back up off the butcher's table, and he's going to be put back down. Ultimate's not there. A teleport coming back in behind GRX. How deep have they gone as the flash in from Stitch? What else would you expect? Nate's now there to take down PK, but so is Koala. Devour there can keep him safe. Still a 2v2, and you have Empty possibly rotating down the river to keep this one going as they get themselves to safety. Plugo's already there first for the 3v2. They're on to Koala, and they could strip him of all that fur. Koala's gonna go down, spits out Nate, and now they're on to Plugo, who's going to go down. Does it ever end? PK now trying to keep himself alive, and they get the kill over onto Nate, and it will be done with Tierwolf.
I don't know who came out ahead. I'm going to be honest. Same time, Candy's about to face check a couple. No, not going to go for it. And finally, the game will just return to some form of normalcy. That was a lead for KLG that then they just handed up on a silver platter and gave back to GRX for just the sake of it, Rip. That's all I'm going to say. Couple of kills coming through, and it looks like both teams very happy to fight.
Beautiful stuff coming out here from Chaos Latin Gamers and GRX. Dragon's gonna be picked up after everything settles. And it's going to be over on the side of GRX. So one Infernal from KLG.
That should have been much cleaner, because what happens is Stitch sticks around for a turret because he wants to race for that first turret. He also knows that he has a Shen ultimate, so he's able to dive very deep. Nate, at the same time, gets his shop off, has so much gold. He just picked up a solo kill as well as solo first turret, teleports into this bottom lane, and this should be a KLG fight. So what goes wrong? Well, right here, he misses the hook shot. That's bad. He then misses the slow on the leg sweep. That's also bad. So now he's like, okay, this is a crappy situation, but Plugo's coming down. I still think we got this. He then misses another one. Stitch going in.
Ooh, procced on the damage. Stitch almost going in with a Cathian Rain to get enough, but he is now going to be suppressed in, and Stitch goes down. The greed is getting the best of him.
Certainly is, and now Koala might be in some trouble.
Oh no. Koala, gray health is there, help from Empty. The chain doesn't stick from Plugo as he tries to get in for a last bit of damage with very low health.
Yeah, the old double CC tank, no damage coming out there, so not able to pick that up. It's now fixing the top lane.
Lockdown. What can he do? Ultimate was just used on that wave, so he doesn't have too much to fight back with here. Candy catching Fix with his hand in the jar, and now the damage again onto Empty. KLG is not seeing these turrets. Every part of the map is theirs, and they will dive everywhere and anywhere.
Absolutely. I mean, they're just playing with no fear, like nothing to lose. I guess that might be the case. But I just think they're catching GRX off guard right now. See, Candy thought he had the solo fight, but not going to be there. They take another turret for themselves.
I was going to say, Stitch at a W. Is he going in?
Certainly not going to be the case. And I think that if GRX just, you know, take that deep breath, they've got themselves an 80 carry that is incredibly fed at this stage of the game. It is one that they can regain control of, but Nate is just becoming scarier and scarier. Now being able to pick up another turret gold, he's 30 CS up. When that Trinity Force is finished, it's going to start chunking out even the tanks, and I think there's something that, you know, GRX need to be aware of.
Nate, still a versatile player, has that gangplank throughout the season. We did see him on tanks here, and we said, a player that can fall behind and still do well. Well, this time he kept himself very much at par and then ahead of the game. So as you're saying, just the fights to come up, 15 to 20 minutes, Nate could start exploding. A lot of that Baron pressure is going to be coming up in 5. Rift Herald hasn't gotten too much love just yet, as everybody is just back and forth scrapping. It's over a kill a minute at this point. Fight in the top lane. Again, distortion back there from Plugo to stop it.
Yeah, unfortunately for Rift Herald, not a champion. So no one's going to try and fight Rift Herald.
There's no interest. No interest in that right now.
Sticking the lanes, gentleman agreement, only team fights at this point.
They're waiting for that distortion. They want to get Plugo's ability to skip out of these fights right away. Both of them walk over wards, so privy to the information that Candy and Empty are top. That might activate Nate on the bot side. He starts off the fight. Spirit Refuge keeping PK healthy to start, but damn, that damage right off the extra kick from Nate shows just how much damage he can do, even to the tankier members.
And you might think, why did they pull off that fight? You know, they had Tier Wolf rotating first. Koala was also in the river with Stitch, so it certainly would have been a 3v2. No teleport able to come in whilst there was a teleport for Candy, so that's the right move for KLG. And whilst they are playing fast and loose, they are also, you know, taking this one pretty seriously. Engaged in the mid lane potentially.
Oh, nice headbutt pulverized. Denial of vision by Empty, which is actually going to stop KLG from coming in, but they still want it. Trying to get back onto Fix. He gets himself and the culling out onto Candy. He gets himself in Tomb, and Tierwolf is definitely down, smothered by 3 members of GRX as they now are able to turn on to the rest of the members of KLG. A push on the bot side by Nate. He still tries to get something for the team off that fight.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, you know, no teleports available, so not able to join that one. They go for the greedy play. They are punished, but Nate still pushing here.
Plugo shot, camera following him as well, because it is just so unexpected what GRX will pull the trigger on right now. It was just going to be mid-turret for there as Nate's going hard bot side. Takes one, gets about 20% damage on the second tier turret. Abyssal Voyage to the bot lane. How much of a vacation is this for Nate? Looks like he'll get out safe.
Yeah, certainly will. Not going to be able to be caught up on. Has got a ward there as well.
No!
Look for the kill.
Wants to fight. Who would thought he was backing? Nate gets out safely. Kill onto Koala as well. 4-1-1 And he is just creating these plays for KLG and relieving pressure on the map whenever GRX can get it.
Yeah, Master Gold's like within 800. He must be a country mile ahead of PK right now because he's up in experience. He's got 4 kills. He's got about 40 CS to his name. He's taken every turret on the map, I think, that KLG has been able to pick up. And
it pains them to grab Rift Herald, being so sacrilege, not a champion. They'll be able to do it, though.
Well, now they start believing. They're like, okay, we pulled them down. We got them to fight us a little bit. We won a couple of those fights. Let's continue to open up this map. Let's look to pick up the W.
Could be the first real disparity we see there with Rift Herald being grabbed. GRX, or I should say GRX, won't know where that Rift Herald is going and are going to lose a second tier with it to start things off. So KLG, a little bit of the driver's seat right now. How are they going to use it? Usually they're a team that can get Baron and end the game very fast. They're not used to playing from behind, so already doing a great job for themselves.
And continuing to attack Nate's lane is just the right thing to do at this stage. You see, Empty was looking for the counterplay on the bottom side of the map. Ultimate for nothing, so crucial summon, ultimates and summon is going to be used there. But it will net them an Infernal Dragon. I think that they have recognized that the tempo of this game got a little bit out of control, that they should be playing around Stitch. He is well and truly ahead of his counter lane as well. He's got himself the completed 2 items, 7, 3, and 0. And if it is just going to be a 5v5 team fight, certainly are avenues for Stitch to be able to take this one over.
Abyssal Voyage top, Rift Herald is out. They actually will not be getting a second turret right away off of this. Nate gets himself the safety out of Hextech Ultimatum, but it's not safe enough. And it looks like top turret's going to stay alive out of that, so GRX really dodging a bullet.
Yeah, a little bit of a bomber QSS there. Used it a little bit too early. That means that the taunt sticks. That means also that Stitch is able to get through as the plasma stacks are going to be there from the CC. So Nate falls down, a mistake made by the top laner who is very far ahead, and that means the counter push is going to be on the table. And GRX as a team have just been so interesting to track because I think that we've seen, you know, Stitch show how well mechanically he can play, and PK filling the 2 voids. His Urgot was so impressive throughout the regional qualifiers, and also in the game he was able to pick it up here, but also then playing, you know, the Maokai in a couple of games, now playing the Shen, just showing that he can play both sides of these matchups. But the interest has really been around Empty and around Candy, and in this game alone, 2 of the quieter members, so just showing that, you know, it's not all on these guys, that they do have multiple avenues to be able to carry through. I want to see what a 5-game series does to this team. You know, do they go back to old habits, or does this form that they've been able to accrue over the last, you know, month and a half stick around?
I'm trying to remember how they did in the regionals. It was something where they kind of, everybody, I think all the teams had like a little bit better regional stats, but definitely faltered in the season. As I said, GRX had that Cloud9 type of season where you lose a lot and then you just win a lot. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, they finished 5th, as that's going to be Lugo going in. And then in the regional qualifiers, I think they went 3-0 and then 3-1, or vice versa. And they kind of led in every single stat across the board.
Exactly.
But I mean, at the same time, you know, historically, LMS has been the top-heavy region. You know, when you're playing not against Mad Team, not against Blackpool, it is going to be, you know, easier opponents. I guess that goes without saying, but I think that what really surprised people was the fact that they went towards Empty as their jungler and not Raid. The fact that they stuck with the Korean duo lane, and that put a lot of pressure on Empty communication-wise, and certainly has risen to the occasion here.
Possible fight. Oh, they still want it. Knowing that Distortion is down, they can get right onto Plugo. Cleanse is there as well as Flash, but he still falls with Summoners. And it's now going to be Slow doing that very slowly to get out. Double kill going over to Stitch as he flashes in for the kill, and GRX just closed down immediately to suffocate KLG.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really nice pick. Around the 20-minute mark, they've got themselves to get Ginsu's user, so they're just going to be able to burn through this Baron buff, and really now KLG looking for a Hail Mary play if they want to be able to pick up this game.
The culling, more so the tickling at this point. Fix a little far behind to be doing the damage. They do lose Koala on the other side. Baron's been stopped right now, and that's going to be Tier Wolf very, very low. Stitch is down. Huge amount of damage lost now for GRX, and this could be a fight turner. They also lose 2 more members, and now it's PK trying to get himself out alive. The Shen can't take this fight alone, and a huge play coming in from KLG when they know they needed to pull the trigger.
Riv, the wind-up, the throw, they go for it, and it is a touchdown. KLG now set their sights on the big purple worm. They might have just bought this game back.
Absolute caster curse on GRX. KLG come back swinging, and the Hail Mary is caught, as you said, in the end zone. That's going to be Baron, and what a swing of the game. Having the turrets in their favor already. Top could go down fast, but KLG maybe can take a breather here. It's going to go down fast, but they're going to be pushed out of this fight for quite a while. How many people can make it out with Baron? Channeling inside the pit, slow. He's going to do a nice job of getting himself out. Nate getting that adaptive shield, but still goes down to the double kill of Stitch. They're trying to get everything they can off of KLG, and there's another Baron buff down. A triple kill for Stitch overall. No, that was the mirror, and there's the kill coming down. It was going to be happening eventually.
Yeah, eventually Empty able to dive in there, pick that one up, so they keep 2 Baron buffs alive, I believe. Ultimately lose 3 members, but still the gold rolls through for GRX. They're going to look for another turret. And I think both teams just really playing this game on the edge. 32 kills so far. I think we had 75 in the show match that happened at MSI Play, and see whether we can track towards that.
I feel so silly to think that GRX wouldn't have come back to fight that, or that KLG wouldn't have come back to fight that. Of course they're going to fight it at this point. This game has been insane. Here it is again.
Both teams playing like there's nothing to lose, but I think this was a little bit split focus. You know, Koala goes out, tries to dissuade the enemy team. They blow him up. Nate is so sped at this stage. And then the fact that they use the CC on the jungler, they want to secure the Baron afterwards, but they leave the AD carry alone was really the mistake there. Wolf able to kite them out, able to look delicious enough as a Scorpion to be able to...
If you eat it right, you're safe.
Bait them in. And I mean, you just see the damage that's coming out of this Camille. Wolf very happy with his team's performance.
I like that. He's like, are you looking? Are you looking, GRX? Because I'm looking at you. Here's the second part of that.
Yeah, and this is as soon as Plugo goes over the wall, Stitch goes, oh, cool, the one guy that could probably take me down is gone. So I'm going to dive in there and able to pick himself up a cheeky double.
And back to live. 14 seconds on the Ocean Drake, a minute and 45 on that Baron. We're still way over a kill a minute at this point in the game, and just about even on that gold line.
Yeah, the clock ain't catching up to the kills at this stage.
17,000 damage already coming in. 13 answered back from Nate. These two need to stay alive for their respective teams in a fight, or things go bad.
Yeah, and the thing is that Nate's kit really can shut down Stitches. They want another fight here.
Nearsighted, always trying to get a bit of damage on to Plugo, but it's on to Wolf to start. They're getting whoever they can, and they will be able to take down, it looks like, Slow first. Who's going to dive in to help him? Fix gets himself in a very close range for the Lucian, and then to safety, him and Slow, about 700 health combined. The Void hits, and Stitch needs one more shot. At Kathy and Rain not in range, but the Duskbringer is, and he is silenced. Fix goes down. Now it is Chaos Latin Gamers trying to answer on the other side of the map. It's always Nate. Where's Nate? Taking down a turret.
Meanwhile, eyes on the prize. You can see they grab the creep wave. They take top lane turret. Nate can clear out another creep wave. Just stop these pushing in. And whilst the kills are accruing for GRX, they are kind of just buying into the hype.
This global / quasi-global team for GRX is allowing them to always be on the heels of KLG. It's taking them a lot of time, but then they're kind of stalling out what KLG can do after this. They have to wait for Nate now, but also GRX has to reposition. Plugo on the PK in the mid lane. Spirit's Refuge is going to keep him a little healthy, but still going to have to heal after that fight.
Yeah, but meanwhile, Wolf just goes around like a Hoover, cleans up the whole map. You know, takes down the mid lane wave, goes top lane, takes down a big pushing wave. So now, whilst they wait for Nate to respawn, he is the most fed member. They've got no waves on their side of the map. You know, they can go into their jungle, make sure that they're securing all of that farm. And the Drakes that matter are Infernal. They're 1-1 apiece at the moment. Turrets are completely even. Gold's completely even. It's just going to come down to execution. The problem with that fight was that Nate couldn't get onto Stitch. And as soon as Stitch is free hitting, the game is over if you are a KLG fan. So really needs to be able to find that assassination. The dive buddies need to come in. The LeBlanc, the Camille need to find the AD carry if KLG have a hope.
15-19 as the kills aren't even mattering anymore. They're just being traded back and forth. And we talked about this before. It's kind of making a team play to your play style. And at one point, KLG said, guess what? We're going to be fighting a lot. I like that GRX adapted to that as well, but it's also kind of, can you adapt and then you have the advantage on that strategy, advance beyond it is the question right now. Going back and forth kind of leaves the game always up to a 50-50. It's just whoever gets that good first initiation. Right now, it looks like Tierwolf's trying to get some solo kills for the team.
And this is really nice now. So they put the pause on the game. They don't walk up to meet mid lane wave. They can see that no one is answering Candy right now. Candy also doesn't have a teleport. PK catching his wave deep as well. They're just trying to nullify the strength.
Predator in. Fast Scorp, and they're going to be right on to PK, a tanky member. Now a 3v2 rotation over and a quick ultimate. The Paranoia locks down Nate once again.
And you can see they're just a little bit impatient. They had the response on the other two waves. Now there's going to be a teleport coming in.
Candy almost on the chase. They stop that as the team has pressure bot lane. They're going to keep pushing out Tierwolf, pushing out the wave. There's so many calls that are being acted on. Everybody's behind each other, but they're actually sometimes being stopped as we see that teleport did not go off. Now a bit of a fight on the bot side. Tierwolf getting a lot of attention here as he kept being pushed by PK in this lane. Will go down eventually. Is there another fight in mid lane? Of course there is. Slow and Fix trying to put this one down. Blue go over the wall but can't get the kill onto Candy as Stitch follows back over to push him out of the fight. Blue goes Distortion in and Ignite is there. One last auto from Stitch as he almost goes down to empty, but he will fall anyways. Fix now running for the hills as it's going to be GRX having a bit of that full control over the map.
And you could see in the player cam that Tierwolf was screaming at his team that there are two members here, start the fight. Meanwhile, Nate says, all right, we're not winning the team fight, so I'm just going to get as many turrets as I can, go on top lane. The problem is the GRX are interested in just taking out the base.
And PK can't stand toe-to-toe with Nate for long. Yeah, you can get him under the turret with a taunt, but this is going to be a pretty decent fight if PK ever leaves those steps. Inhibitor is going to go down in favor of GRX. 29 minutes in with 38 kills on the board. The bases are finally broken.
Doesn't go with the ulti, just came back available. Respects the fact that there are multiple members spawning. On the course of this game, I did not expect that, as here we go.
Expect the unexpected spawn. That is the name of the game here for KLG and GRX. A nice hook shot over the wall from Nate. We have 20 seconds on to Baron, and everybody needs to be ready.
So finally, GRX get a meaningful advantage. You know, they break the base. They're going to have mid-priority through those creeps. That should be able to mean that the push is there a little bit easier. They can get access to the Baron. However, I just don't see a world where KLG doesn't fight them as soon as they walk up to this wave.
I agree with you.
So now it's just going to come down to team fight execution.
Yeah.
And at 30 minutes in, you know, 2,000 gold, it's absolutely nothing. If you can generate a pick before that, still anyone's game.
Nothing really equals a win at this point. GRX. They're going to tempt fate, and they will start the Baron right away. Just above them is Nate. Teleports down, so everybody's here that needs to be here, except for Fix, quite far away. KLG is going to have to put themselves in a sore spot to make this happen. A great pulverize coming in from Slow, but can they get the fight to count? It's going to be damage over on to Tierwolf. He goes down, so no smite for the fight. 4 members of KLG now trying to run for safety, and Slow is going to be devoured up, spit out, and taken down. Fix going to be the next one as Nate cannot help his team. Blue goes chains, just not doing enough to bring the pain, and GRX can look for the base of KLG.
Yeah, this might just be the win. You could see that Nate wanted to try and impact that team fight, but wasn't able to do so. Whilst Plugo's grabbing a wave, there is one prepared earlier, and you can see they want to end it now.
Always having the Abyssal Voyage to get somewhere. Nocturne's Paranoia to fly across the map. PK, the Summer Split MVP for GRX. All around the map with Stand United, the global comp of GRX. Huge against KLG this game, and what a great game from both teams as GRX takes down the Nexus over Chaos Latin Gamers.
And they will end the group at 4-0. Unfortunately for Chaos Latin Gamers, not able to pick up a win, but certainly went down swinging. Got to see a little bit of their style of League of Legends as they kept the games bloody. But really now, eyes turn towards GRX as they head into the best of 5. I think this is one of those teams that you think winning will probably avoid them as a second seed. But you're running out of good options, you know. Cloud9 looking to finish out their group strong. Maybe some stumbles against Dead FM and that last game versus Kaboom. So they need to make a statement game all of a sudden. Do you want to get Supermassive, who's currently winning? Can G2 hit back? Just so many unanswered questions. This team, however, certainly looking the most consistent thus far.
And that was the question, Spawn. We said it a few times. This region, or this team that's not AHQ, that's not Flash Wolves, making statements here, and they surprise a lot of people out of the region. So for more on that game, we're going to go ahead and send it back to the analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Riv. There we go then, 4-0 at the end for GRX. I think this was the opposite of dirtiest, I don't know.
Dirtiest is a weird word, huh?
Yeah, it is weird. I was trying to look for something that was maybe better, but yeah, they made it in the end. So I think the 4-0 still stands. They are definitely the strongest team in this group. Maybe it was because they know they were locked that it was a bit dicier in this one.
That's definitely how it felt to me, where there was a lot more carry-oriented picks. The Camille in the top lane was something that we hadn't seen that much at all this tournament. I think that was the first Camille top as far as I can remember. So it was definitely felt like a game where one team was out there trying to show everyone trying to put their best foot forward, and one team already locked him first.
Yeah, and I was just looking at the pick and ban for me because immediately what really drew my eyes was the Camille. And it was a blind pick Camille too. At that point, I was like, I don't want to see a sign because if they do, then they actually put themselves in a really rough position early game-wise. So bringing the Camille up actually opens up some win conditions later on. And I thought Nate played exceptionally well. In fact, it reminded me of his Swain game in the MSI point.
Yeah.
So he can have those moments, and that's what I really appreciate.
Well, honestly, for KLG, this was almost their best game we've seen, but we have to say that in the end, it wasn't enough for them to go through, and I think that is fair, all things considered. So I do want to look forward when it comes to GRX, because they are now the undefeated team in this group, the #1 seed who will go up against the #2 seed out of one of the other groups. So looking forward, what are the highlights here for GRX, and what are the things we're looking out for?
I think it's mostly what we've been praising kind of the whole time. Empty and Candy together are two amazing players, and we've seen a variety of different styles out of them, and it continued here, I think. And so, you know, we do see a lot of Skarner and Nocturne and these kinds of things, but the Nocturne was different for him because it was a lot less controlled jungler. And I think maybe that caused some problems, but as well as the fact that, like we said, they felt already locked up. They were willing to take these risks.
Yeah.
And I also saw Stitch and PK really getting a groove in a lot of these team fights. So, of course, Stitch, he was doing really well, regardless of it. A lot of the times being
Well,
able to
I'm glad you
outside
said
lane.
it
Go for
because
it.
he is our MasterCard player of the game.
There
Stitch,
we
there you go.
have it.
Glad you called it, so go ahead.
Perfect. I mean, I'm happy about that. But I thought that this was one of his best games. Boom. Got that logo going. And I felt like his side lane pressure was super good. This was actually really clean from him because at this point, he was just trying to take the bottom lane tower. I didn't think he was able to do it, but the ultimate coming through from Shen really shielded him. So he had the backing from not only just the Nocturne ulti if he was ever in trouble, but the Shen ulti that was really doing it for him.
Yeah, and I think it was good to see some other people stepping up too. Lissandra mid with the Aftershock, I gotta say, not as much of a fan in the mid lane.
Yeah.
But it still worked out pretty well for them, and you're starting to see people branching out. I don't know if they were influenced by C9, maybe they scrimmed each other or something, but you do see the power of the Kaisa with other dive buddies. The Nocturne and Lissandra go in, open up the fight, draw so much attention to themselves that Kaisa can choose to go in at any moment.
Now, looking forward, when C9 locked first, we thought about, you know, who they could get upset by, and we thought, well, most likely they're just going to make it to group stage. GRX now, what do we feel if we look at possible opponents? We've got the Dire Wolves as a possibility, G2 as a possibility. What are we thinking?
I actually think in some ways, it's hard to tell because you don't know how strong each group is, but I think GRX has looked better than C9, and so I would say once again, Group B looks like the scariest because I don't think anyone wants G2 or Supermassive, but I think GRX actually looks good.
Yeah, they look good individually. It's just such a dicey point for us because not only are they coming out of the LMS, but they're also coming out of the weakest group. So for us, it's actually just difficult to gauge where they're at when there's pushback. Gambit wasn't good enough pushback in the early game, and we already saw how day one came out for both of these teams, both KLG and GRX. So while that is difficult to say, I do believe that Empty has always been in the right spots in the early portions of the game to help out Candy. So just on individual play alone, I think they have it against any opponent.
Well, I agree. I think Empty is just a fantastic revelation we've seen here in the play-in so far. And if you go 4-0, well, you actually can't doubt them too much going into the best of fives. I certainly have high expectations for GRX going forward, but we still have a game to go and possibly more. Coming up, it is a rematch between Cloud9 and Detonation Focus. Meet us after the break to see if the representatives from the LJL can keep their tournament dreams alive.